No.
Now Marissa, press the button.
Yes.
So Marissa Backlund of Love Sweet Arrow has pressed the button. So we are live with you for our March edition of Other People's Books. We haven't met for a while, so this might be completely bananas.
Right.
I am one of your co-hosts, Suleikha Snyder, writer of contemporary, erotic, and paranormal romance. And here is my compatriot, Miss Marie Piper.
Hello, I'm Marie Piper. I write historical romance set in American history.
Yes. And speaking of historical romances, I feel like we read a lot of historical romance in the last couple of weeks.
We've discussed how this year our reading goal was to sort of go where our hearts and souls took us.
Yeah.
And apparently they took us to like romance backlist.
Yes, I was like diving into backlist. And it's always weird to come back a couple of years later to reread things that, maybe you really enjoyed 5 years ago and you weren't reading as critically. And now you pick it up again and you're like, so who wants to start off with one of these books that we read?
I'll start.
Okay.
Because one of my resolution, which I don't keep resolutions, so I see no point in sticking them anymore. But I did decide one thing I should do for my own betterment in the year 2022 was to fill in the holes in Ms. Bev's backlist that I haven't read, because I look back and go, wait, what's that one? So I made a list of the ones I haven't read. And now I'm just, as the year goes on, when I see one, I snatch one. And I started with Through the Storm.
Oh, yes. That's Sable's book, yeah?
This is Sable. And also Raymond Levesque, who's these two start like everything. This is a huge hole. If you haven't read this one, but you've read other Bevs, there's like the whole Levesque family. And then Galen and I forget her name, the heroine of Indigo, appear for a huge chunk of this. Esther. Yeah, they show up for just ever. So yeah, this is a stunner of a book. And it's also it's a saga. It covers like decades of time.
It's great. I love that.
Really good. And I really loved it. And also it's one of those that hey, you're going to learn more about the Civil War than you ever did in school. So Ms. Bev every day.
I think that might have been one of the first Miss Beverly Jenkins books I read. And, I came late to the Miss Beverly Jenkins game, like many of us. But once you start, you can't stop. It's because, again, like she says, you learn. They're enjoyable, they're sexy, they're romantic, and you learn more than you ever did in history class.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Through the Storm is definitely, and it's a great bridge between multiple series. Sable's brother, Ryan Fontaine, is the hero of Forbidden, one of her more recent books, which kicks off a lot of her Old West set novels. And
Rebel, which is the first in the Women Who Dare series, is also Levesque family.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then Indigo. Yeah, it was me going, I know you.
It is fun when you read historicals that are that connected, because you do recognize people. Yeah. And that's fun. And she does it across multiple series as opposed to obviously if you read 8 books in a row I read 3 of Elizabeth Hoyt's Maiden Lane books in a row, reread from years ago. And of course there's all these continuing characters because it's a linear series. Mm-hmm. And that was an interesting reread, I gotta say. It's basically Georgian era. It's not Regency or Victorian. It's Georgian. So they're all running around in wigs. And
I can't with wigs.
Oh my god, wigs and tights. Which really, if you think about it, is, I'm sorry, not that sexy.
No, for some reason, I have to just take the way away the wigs. I can't.
And I can't picture the little skinny leggings and the high heel buckle shoes. I'm I can't. We're not going to do that.
Right.
No.
I've watched Harlots and I loved it. And so those wigged dudes are the dudes and I just can't. They're not romance heroes.
Yeah, so it's Georgian era Batman basically, because it's set in mostly in St. Giles, which is a bad part of London, and there's a Batman character, the Ghost of St. Giles, and I started thinking about his outfit, by the way, which apparently is a Harlequin motley, and so it's I'm sure you all know what a court jester outfit kind of looks like, so that's what a Harlequin motley is, and some sort of jaunty hat and a eye mask with a hooked nose attached.
Wow.
And matching leggings. And I'm you know what? I don't know how I feel about this outfit.
That is That reminds me of that blog that's everything Claudia ever wore in the Babysitters Club and like how absurd some of the outfits were. Like that's Claudia.
I think Claudia would wear this.
Claudia would kill this. Yeah.
So that was, really interesting. And I will say that this is something I don't like as much. I'll kind of give it a pass in older romances, but it's like really gendered and binary language. Like, he made me feel like a woman,
his manhood, her womanhood.
And like, his masculine spine. And I was like, really? I wasn't aware that a spine had gender. Like, oh, what does a feminine spine look like?
Right.
Aren't they just
Is there a difference? Supposed to look up science. Like,
it's very tiny. And
it's a feminine spine is very tiny.
It's very tiny and it's hairless and it smells like flowers. Fine. It likes yogurt and salads. Like,
Like if you like, vivisect somebody and look at their spine, a male spine is blue and a woman's right. Like,
except like about 200 years ago, originally the colors were flipped.
Right, you're right. Wait, it's Georgian era, so clearly the male spine is red.
I went to the Surgical Science Museum here in Chicago this past week, and there was a model of a spine on display. And now I'm like, but was that a masculine? I don't know whose spine that was, you guys.
Right. So as much as I like revisiting those worlds, you start looking at it with a more modern eye, especially when you start to acknowledge that there's not just a gender binary and male and female this.
Yeah.
It took me out of all three books. I kept going, what? Yeah. Feminine this, what? His manly face. And I'm like his feminine lips. And I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So
I have the first one of those on my Kindle from forever ago. Should I read it?
I think they're fun. I mean, okay. As long as, that's the thing, like they're problematic.
Prepared.
I mean, obviously there's colonial stuff and weird archaic language, which the books aren't that old. They're really I think they're less than 15 years old. So I probably shouldn't be giving Hoyt a pass for some of this language. But romance is what it is. And they are enjoyable if you can set aside and kind of be like, these were, I'm much harder, I think, on books coming out now that pull this. For example, I actually just finished After Dark with the Duke by Julianne Long, which people have been raving about. It's an opera singer. I think you talked about it last time, Marie.
Yes, it's in that series that I praise you about. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like an opera. It's like a duchess and a mistress who open a boarding house together, kind of.
Yeah, they're disgraced. Yeah,
yeah. So, and this is like the fourth or fifth book in the series, and she's like,
I don't even know anymore.
She's an opera singer hiding out in this boarding house. And she falls in love with like this gruff war hero who's like much older than her. He's teaching her Italian because she doesn't really understand the operas she sings. And I found it really interesting that like she's an opera singer and they acknowledge that she has had a lover. Like she has had the sex. And I'm like, wow, we're actually
How forward, how progressive.
Because usually whenever the woman is an actress or a dancer, you somehow find out that they have never had sex. Everyone just thinks they're a hoe.
Right.
So I was like, wow, we've gotten up to one lover. This is progress.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the unfortunate side of that is that she slut shames herself.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my God, everyone thinks I've had more than one lover. And I'm like, potato, okay?
Right.
Yeah. Who cares? Like she's like, oh no, you think I'm a harlot. I'm like, what makes one a harlot? Like more than one, less than five?
Right. What's the math?
Where's the harlotry cutoff here, ma'am?
Yeah. There's a lot of unpacking she has to do,
Yeah. And in general, I think we as women writers, like again, even if you're setting a book historically where, she might be slut shamed, she didn't really need to self-slut shame.
Yeah. There's plenty of that from the outside.
Exactly. I'm like, she could have been like, it's fine. I could have had 5 or 6 or 7.
Right.
She would have had the same reputation issues.
Yeah.
So I don't know why it was necessary for her. And again, a character, I really liked her as a character, except for that part where I'm like, why are you gonna shame your opera singer friends who've probably had 4 lovers? Come on.
Right?
Yeah.
I thought that book was so funny. Just in some like these parts where they're trying to when they try to translate that opera and they're like, am I playing a lobster? Like, which is very relatable for those of us who are not like multilingual, going, what does this say?
I love it when she asks him to tell her how to tell her to say, please take your hand off my ass in Italian. And well, actually, no, she asked him to tell her what this particular phrase in Italian means. And I think it's something vulgar, like I want to bang you. And he's horrified that she wrote this down for him to translate. And he's like, and then he thinks she's hitting on him. And she's like, no, men say this to me. And I don't know what they're saying. And then he's like furious. He's like, what?
Yeah.
Men say this to your face? And then he teaches her how to say, please take your hand off my ass in Italian.
That series, I don't remember what the series is called, but it is just so charming and funny. And the first book is almost like an Agatha Christie, who's the smuggler? We have all these people boarding in this house. Who's doing the thing? And it's a wild collection of characters, and I just chuckled all the way through it. So
yeah, I guess there's this guy that lives in the house who sells like pharmaceuticals. He's like a pharmaceutical salesman, but he gets his products from the Orient, where it winced. Okay, Suleikha winced. It was like, really?
Yeah.
And he tells outlandish stories, one of which was about somebody who took one of his drugs and woke up naked next to a tiger.
Oh, well.
In India. And I was like,
well,
it didn't bug me, actually, because that's viable. I think, you could totally get high.
Your drugs, you wake up by tigers.
Sometimes you get high and wake up next to a tiger. So that I have no colonial issues with that.
That's a universal experience.
That's a universal experience. Just ask Joe, the Tiger King.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But yeah, so that was a bit of my journey into historicals. And again, I haven't read Julianne Long since the Pennyroyal Green series. So it was kind of fun to come back to her after all that time and pick her up again. And I would probably read more books in the series, but I'm kind of braced for the, oh no, I have slept with more than two people.
Right. I'm not sure if I want to read any more virgin heroines. I'm almost 40. Who has the time?
I'm over 40 and I don't mind virgin heroines or sexually inexperienced heroines. I just need them to be knowledgeable still.
Right.
Like, what your body parts are called. Like, what an orgasm is, what your body parts are called.
Yeah. No more nuns like, and always, what is kissing? Like, no, you're 34 years old. Hush. Or like I hate it when the male protagonist has to teach her what her body parts are called. And I'm like, really? Your parents failed you.
Dude, you're not an anatomist. Who taught you the word clitoris?
Right. Why do dukes know so much?
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm surprised number one that he knows how to find a clitoris, but then how does he know what it's called? Do they teach you that at Eton or Harrow?
Pass notes in the dorm. Pass notes. Yeah. I have huge news in historical romance reading. I read perhaps the granddaddy of all Regency romances. Lisa Kleypas is dreaming of you. P.S. Let's show it, because
the step back. Look at the step back.
Look at them.
Derek Craven and Sarah, right?
And Sarah, yeah. Now, having just read this book and now looking at this is what sure. This is not the Derek Craven that I saw, but whatever.
What do you feel like is the difference between Derek Craven in the book and Derek Craven in the step back?
I don't know. I just feel that this man might have waxed his chest, and I don't feel like that's a Derek Craven thing to do, He's awfully hairless for what I expected Derek Craven to be.
Right? And there's a lot of hair on his head. It's
all there. Yeah.
There's a lot of hairspray going. I feel like, he blow dried it before the photo shoot.
Right. This is a 1994 step back. So it's been around. But yeah, he's got some waves of hair. Look at that. He's giving me shifter energy. I don't know.
Right? Derek Craven werewolf.
They'll do it. I super enjoyed this. I knew I would. There's a reason people love this. This was pulpy and over the top and wonderful. And I really did enjoy it. I really listen, if they had told me this opens with the heroine shooting a dude to save the hero, I probably would have read it years earlier.
I love that. I
love that energy.
I love books where the heroines shoot the hero. Because they probably
right. Yeah. So I love that she's just there and she just shoots the dude and we're off and running. That's a great opening to a book.
Miss Bev has a couple of those too.
Yeah, that's the meet cute in Tempest, isn't it?
Yeah, that's how she meets him.
She thinks he's a robber, and then boom.
Greatest mail order bride romance of all time.
Yes.
Tempest. Yeah.
So how would you rate, now that you have read both Dreaming of You and A Devil in Winter?
Yes.
So,
okay.
Because for those of you who don't know, there's a big divide in the romance reading and writing community. Some people are team Devil in Winter and St. Vincent, Lord St. Vincent. He's very rakish.
Sebastian St. Vincent. Yes.
Sebastian St. Vincent. And other people are team Dreaming of You and Derek Craven. So it's like a very like, you know, we could rumble someday over.
Right. I'm like worried I'm going to get like assassinated by the romance landia forces for saying it. But this was very, very good. Don't get me wrong. I liked Derek and Sarah very, very much. I'll keep this forever. I liked Devil in Winter better. Yes. More. I liked her. I loved Evie with my whole heart. That's her name, right? Evie?
Yes.
I loved her. I loved their chaos opening and how much of a like competent caretaker he is. And I ate that up, and I like, this is like the difference between like an A+ book and an A book, you know. I enjoyed them both, but I am a little bit partial to Team St. Vincent.
Yes. I know because we discussed this book. We did discuss it in a previous ep, and I think we were all raving about how he like warms her feet and feeds her.
Yes. and her dad's sick, and he's like, don't breathe the air. And you know, and reading it in a pandemic when he's like, put a mask on, like, don't breathe the air. He's infectious. I was like,
he would totally buy her a whole box of K95s.
He would. He would have gotten her tests and sanitizer. He's a good pandemic boyfriend.
He's a great pandemic boyfriend.
He would have paid whatever it takes for toilet paper.
Yeah, he would have gotten your toilet paper, soup, everything.
He would fill that carriage with toilet paper.
Absolutely.
He would like clean out Walmart. I'm like, sorry.
Yeah.
We're gonna stock up, Evie. I have you.
Yes. I really need competent over everything right now. And Derek, bless his heart, is a mess. And St. Vincent is very competent. And I was like, that's my dude. So
yeah.
There, I've weighed in.
Yeah. So I don't know if you are watching us on YouTube or following us on Twitter, definitely feel free to like weigh in on this discussion in the comments.
Come argue with us. Come on. Come at us.
Someone said, well, Megan said,
hi, Megan.
Vincent would always.
St. Vincent would always. Yes. This is a nod to the fact that team Derek Craven says Derek Craven would never. Like that's their catchphrase. So
Vincent would always.
Yeah.
St. Vincent would never steal her glasses.
Yes. Thank you.
So as 3 glasses wearing dames here, I was like, give her back her hard to come by spectacles.
That is one of my biggest beefs with this book. Okay. He steals her glasses so he can like stroke them and tap off to them or whatever.
I guess. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's fine. Okay. You needed a token of, of hers, but her glasses she needs them. She can't just go to Lens Crafters.
Right.
I'm pretty sure
I think there's a mention in this where she's not like using these, like I use my glasses very casually. I can see without them. Like Sarah needs these.
She needs them. She only has 2 pairs. The one he stole and then the one she wears is a replacement. And I think
like she can't just take a bus to Target Optical and get a new pair. Like
she can't go to Costco. Like, come on, Derek. I actually think we had this exact discussion about her glasses.
Probably. Yeah.
Because like an August and a half ago, my glasses, like the handle broke off and I was duct taping for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Until I could get to the eye doctor because I liked my eye doctor and now he's retired. But like literally I would like take them off and they would fall and I'd have to get more duct tape. And then like at one point I was doing my interview and I was holding because it wouldn't stay. And I was like interviewing for the job that I got, like holding my glass. I was like, please don't mind the pink duct tape.
What you're saying is you need your Regency boyfriend not to take your glasses.
You can't take glasses.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a point I can't get past. So that makes him an A and St. Vincent an A+. There's my answer.
Because exactly. Like, sorry,
that's what I got.
Hadn't stolen the glasses. Maybe you would.
Different conversation if you had, but you did. Yeah.
I love us.
Yes, this is great. Jumping from Regency backlist to sort of like some backlist isn't old backlist, it's fairly recent backlist, but sometimes a book comes along and you go, I read that. And then you go, no, I didn't read that.
Yeah.
I thought I had read Megan Frampton's The Duke's Guide to Correct Behavior. Turns out I haven't read this, but I have now. Okay. This is very, very charming. He is one of my favorite Duke tropes is, oh no, I'm now the Duke. When the book opens with them, like, I became the Duke 3 weeks ago and I don't want to be, like, that's a great starting point. he is like 6 months into being this and doesn't care at all. And then literally at the end of the first chapter, there's a knock on the door and they bring in a little like 4 or 5-year-old girl and they're like, this is your daughter. End chapter. And so he has to hire a governess real fast rather than hide this girl away or send her off and pretend she is not his daughter because she's illegitimate. He's like, no, she's the kid. She should stay in my house. I will hire her a governess, right?
Oh, that's
so he hires this nice governess, Lily. Lily is part of a trio of ladies who run an agency for women, perhaps with a little bit sordid past, who need to be governesses, maids, etc. But Lily recognizes that this is a huge opportunity, so she goes to be the governess to like make sure that it like works for the agency, and she thinks it'll be a short-term thing. And she literally is the one that has to tell him, like, if you keep this little girl in your house and acknowledge her as your daughter, it's going to be a scandal, and this kid's life's going to be ruined. And so they sort of work. It's a lot about like, they love this kid. Like there's a kid in this romance who's actually important to the plot. And Rose is a little darling. And it's about like figuring out how to like fall in love and exist as like competent adults, but also take care of a child who you don't want to ruin her whole life. Yeah. And I liked everyone in it. It's very sweet and pleasant. Nothing's terrible. Oh, there's no kidnapping. There's no murder. Like it's
is
just
is it a fairly recent release of hers?
It is 2014.
Okay.
Well, so yeah, it escaped me completely, but I really enjoyed this. And it's just like fluffy little popcorn, you know?
Nice. Not quite as fluffy. Book. Yeah, not quite as fluffy as Back to Maiden Lane and the Georgian era and the tights. Is one of the Maiden Lane books is called Thief of Hearts. Not Thief of Hearts, sorry, Thief of Shadows. And it features one of there's 3 Ghosts of St. Giles. There's 3 Batmans running around in questionable outfits.
Are they all wearing the same Jester outfit?
Yes, they all have the same outfit.
Oh, man.
I don't know if you can like go to Ghost of St. Giles Target or something, apparently, you know, like.
It was the season.
but he's one of them. And he like is, and by day he runs an orphanage and he's a very, very staid and serious. His name is Winter Makepeace.
Wow.
And he runs an orphanage and he's a very, very serious and staid orphanage manager. And he kind of follows in his father's footsteps. His father was very removed and not passionate man. So Winter feels like he has to do that too. And he gets all his emotions out when he's running around being, you know, Georgian Batman.
Right.
But he has all these kids in the house and you can tell he adores them.
Good.
But he can't, like, he doesn't let himself show it at first until he gets involved with this old, by the way, he's also a virgin. He is Virgin Georgian Batman.
Wow. That's a hashtag right there.
Right? So, but he gets involved with this older woman, slightly older woman who's teaching him how to be better in society since he is such a grump. Mm-hmm. And she's widowed and you know, sexually worldly. She's older than him. And she has a little kid at home, random little kid. It's kind of like every time he comes to visit her, there's like random child named Christopher, who's adorable, but she's not quite his mom. You know, what's going on there? And you find out that he was her husband's illegitimate son. And she had just found out after her husband died.
Oh.
And his mom is kind of a flake. So Isabel, being really giving, is like, well, let him stay in my house. He's safe there. But she won't let herself love him. Okay. Because she has had so many miscarriages in the past and she couldn't have a child of her own. And it's like heartbreaking as both of them actually end up bonding over their feelings about children while he's running around like finding murderers and beating up people.
That sounds great. I'm going to end up reading these.
You are. It's one of my favorites, despite some of the problems in it. Because like, again, like the fact that children are the core of that one. And she's also afraid to be with him because she's like, I'm older than you and I can't have kids. Right. Like, you can't marry me because I can't have kids. Right. And spoiler alert, by the end, he's like, they're in the orphanage. He's proposing and he's like, excuse me, look, these are all my kids.
I have so many kids.
Like, so many kids.
Yeah.
Do not need more.
Right. I love that.
Yeah. Which is unfortunately why the book after that was a little bit of a bummer because she's obsessed with having babies. So like on the heels of a book where they learn to accept that you don't have to have biological children to be happy, to have the next book be like severe baby rabies. And like,
yes.
Wow. Yes. That was like a sharp turn.
There's truly something for everyone in that series.
There is, exactly. Yeah. If you like baby rabies, there you go. If you like, you know, childless couples, there you go. You know, you got everything. Amazing. You got murderous Batmans, you've got not so murderous Batmans. Like they're all different layers of murderous too.
You're checking my boxes here. You know that, right?
Like there's the Batman that murders in self-defense. There's the Batman that likes to snap necks. It's very
great. these are the heroes I think we need right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, to get back, back from Maiden Lane, back to the present.
I read a couple things that are not backlist.
Okay.
I read, like we've discussed this. This is like, what are you reading between the pandemic and the war of the, World War III?
Exactly.
What do you read? Like, whatever you want. I don't have it to show the cover, but I read a lovely novella called The Companion by E.E. Ottoman.
Oh, yes.
Which was, I read it because it was like, it's three lovers. Is that a trio? It's a trio. It's very cottagecore, which I was like, bought it. So all three of our core lovers are trans heroes and heroines. It's set in upstate New York in the 1940s. It's very like reclusive writer types going to a cottage to write and like hunting mushrooms and falling in love and having sexy times. And I was like, this is nice. I like this. And I really enjoy it. It's beautifully written. It's not there's no kidnapping. There's no, it's three people in a remote area putting together their relationship. Like two of them were lovers before. One is new to this. She's falling for her. She was been with him. He's with and then they all make it work together. It's a beautiful little novella. I
love E.E.'s prose. He writes a lot of gorgeous, soft books. Again, you're at cottagecore. Like they're very cozy.
If you like Taylor Swift's folklore, you will like this cottagecore book. Like
I kind of love that. All right, like pairing Taylor Swift and E.E. Ottoman.
It really gave me that sort of like folklore. But that's what I wanted too.
Put on get a cup of tea and a nice cardigan. Put on the Taylor Swift. Read an E.E. Ottoman novella. They
wake up, they make breakfast, they write, they kiss, they go out in the woods and hunt, and they come back and they have sex. Like it's a great. Who wants anything more? Yeah. So I loved that. And then shout out to Megan, who's actually watching. Megan loaned me these. So I've talked in recent months about how like all the Harlequins are just hitting me right now, delivering on the promise of a tightly packed little romance. So these are the first two books in Robin Covington's Red Hawk Reunion series. This is first, this is second. This is Adam Red Hawk, who is one of three siblings who were they're Native Americans, like little kids, and they were pulled from their family who were having financial troubles by like a bitchy social worker. I said bitchy, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And
I said way worse words earlier.
Great. Profanity, we're on. And these three siblings, Adam and his two younger twin siblings, were separated. And now he is a gigantic tech billionaire, and he hires this sexy private investigator here named Tess to find his siblings.
Ooh.
Along the way, guess what? They fall in love.
Shocker.
Again, very competent people. I know he's a billionaire, but I didn't mind him at all, And she does in this book find his two siblings. So this is book 2, and then book 3 is the other brother. But these are so good, you guys. These are they're the Harlequin desires, high glamour, glitz, rich people. Yes. This is spoilers. This is Adam's billionaire business partner and Adam's little sister who get drunk married in Vegas right at the beginning of the book. What?
Tropey as hell. Oh my God.
It's so good.
Brother's best friend plus drunk married in Vegas. Ooh.
Yeah. Like first 2 chapters, it's off and running. So, and I'm excited to read the third book, which is coming, I guess, soon. It's the brother. And there is at least some indication in this book that the brother is bi.
Ooh.
Because he is flirting. He at least flirts with a cute boy in the end of the second book. And then, but I think he flirts with a girl. So like,
nice.
The setup is that he is for whatever the third book will be. He has to go because they have the President Irons, the first Native American president, is in office and has his daughter's portrait being painted. And Rowan's going to paint the portrait.
Is the daughter his love interest, we think?
So is the daughter, or is it like a sexy Secret Service guard? I don't know. I mean, could be anything. I'm very excited.
Can he have both? I don't know if Harlequin's ready to have both, but
So Robin Covington's Red Hawk Reunion series hit me all in the feels this month. So that was great.
Yes, I might have to borrow them from you.
Right. I'll pass them on. So good.
That's one of the best things about reading books with your friends and other people is that we infect each other with books.
True. It's our own pandemic.
Like I'm pretty sure the reason I went down my Maiden Lane thing was because a bunch of people from I think the Do They Bang podcast and Twitter account were buddy reading Maiden Lane books. And then I'm susceptible. So I was like, all right, here I come.
Yeah.
I did the same thing in January because a bunch of people were rereading Meredith Duran's historical backlist. And I did the same thing. I followed them right down that rabbit hole.
Oh, I haven't read a Meredith Duran in forever.
You could basically lure me into a white van if you like showed me a bunch of great backless romances.
Come on.
Like,
come on, lady. Yeah.
But then they would like give you the books because they would be like, okay, we just bye here.
Why? Oh yes, they don't actually kidnap you. They just give you the books and go away.
Take the books. Take the books.
That would be nice. Yeah. Or you buddy read with your kidnapper.
Yeah. Right. That's your romance novel right there.
Right? The kidnapping book club.
Well, is
kidnapped by like my book club lover. Kidnapped.
There's like an O. Henry book where like they kidnap this little boy.
Yep.
And then he like, drives them wild. And so then they pay his family.
Yep.
To take him back again. It's an O. Henry.
Ransom of Red Chief.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
He like drives them absolutely wild. And they're like, at the end, they're like, go back to your family. It's not worth it.
It's too much.
Mine would be like, we're so sick about, stop talking about Derek Craven's classes.
Craven.
You don't need a ransom. Go.
Yeah. Why does it? I'm serious though. By like kidnapped by my rogue book club millionaire. Like there's a series to be written here.
There really is. It'd be funny.
That's another mercenary librarians thing. We're gonna just throw books at you aggressively.
I just imagine annoying people with like obsessing about like Lee Pace and The Widow of Rose House, and they'd be like, "Shut up already! We're tired."
I need to read the sequel to The Widow of Rose House.
Yes, you do.
Which I haven't read yet, like a loser. And
The Brightest Star in Paris. The Brightest Star in Paris. It's got ghosts of a different kind, but it's lovely and it's lyrical and it's beautiful. I think we raved about this before as well.
Oh, good.
But yeah, I highly recommend you getting back to that as well.
Yes, I'll do that on the list. What else have we read? Marissa, what have you read?
Yes.
Wait, real quick. Shout out to Marissa's dog Remy, who had a homeward bound adventure since we last spoke. Remy is home.
Remy ran away. Remy ran away and had like a 3-day adventure that, scared poor Marissa out of her wits. He's home now. I hope she's bringing him on screen to shame him.
I think she is. Let's all applaud.
Oh, there he is.
Air tag.
You're back, baby.
Air tag.
Oh, good. He's got a tag. Good.
Look at you.
Look at this little runaway.
You scamp.
You scamp. You scoundrel.
How dare you scare everybody, gorgeous. Yay, Remy.
That is a non-sorry face, honestly.
He's so happy.
Oh, baby.
Look at that little face. He doesn't look particularly sorry for scaring everyone, though.
No regrets.
No regrets.
He's not.
Whenever our front door is left open, our cat wants to run out. We have like other doors, so we can't get anywhere. But I always think of that moment from the Hobbit movie where Martin Freeman's running, going, "I'm going on an adventure." Like that's big Remy energy.
Well, and it's funny because like the first 24 hours I had him back home, he was glued to me. Like I was the one who ran away on him. Like he would like I took him like harnessed, double leashed, everything to go and thank people who and so we went to on Oak Park. There's a pet supply store, brand new. It's and so she like handed out flyers. She was really great about and so he was like, I'm standing there and he's got his 2 front legs on my hip. Like he cannot stop hanging on to me. And I'm like, it's like I left.
Right.
Like, no,
baby.
You were the one who ran when I was there.
You got run away with me. That's what that was. So were you able to read anything while you were in
you totally get a pass if the answer is no, because you had reasons.
Yeah, but I did like I've had an arc of Hunt the Stars on my Kindle app for like I don't know, like probably close to 6 months since it was available on NetGalley. And I finally I read it last week after and I was like, this is big Star Wars energy.
Yes, I'm reading it right now. And there's also one of the principal characters in here is a dog-like, fox-like creature, Marissa, who goes on adventures. So
I'm a big fan of like furry creatures on spaceships.
Yeah, read this one. Yeah, you can even see
the furry creatures on the cover.
It's on the cover. Yay! No, I'm reading this right now, and I absolutely love it.
They're definitely like bi characters.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this you can see this book. There's so many characters being set up for future books, and I'm like, you and you, but maybe you. I don't know.
There's like almost like hinted at a quad.
I'm not very far yet, but I can see where you're going.
Yeah.
So she is the like lady captain bounty hunter of the ship, Firefly energy kind of. With her crew, the ship is not in great condition, but they're bounty hunters, and they this crew. So there's another race of people who are kind of human-like, but different enough that they and the humans don't like each other. She is human. He is of the other race of almost human-like, but still very hot people. And so he and his team need to hire her bounty hunter crew to find the thief who stole this artifact of their family group. Yeah. So they're all 2 squads on this rickety ship, sailing through space, trying to, that's about where I am right now. But there's such colorful characters. And this little tiny, like almost like an Arctic fox, but also a cat. Like Luna is not a dog, Luna is a space creature, but I'm obsessed already.
So you got to the end, Marissa,
telepathically, and she'll be like, she'll send them an image of her empty food bowl.
Yeah,
and like that you just ate, and she's like, the empty food bowl again, but you just ate.
Yeah.
If your cat or dog could do that, that would be oh god, that'd be so chaotic.
My Pippa, that's all I would get is just like food bowl all day long. So I'm really glad she doesn't have that.
It reminds me of I don't know if either of you watch Star Trek Discovery, but it is
CBS access, but I really want to watch it.
I might, it's a lovely show. It's like she's the first Black female space captain. She's amazing.
Yay.
She gets to that position, I want to say in late season, in season 3 somewhere, she becomes captain.
Yeah.
But where was I going with that? Oh, there's a cat.
Yay.
Because her love interest has a cat, like in the 24th or whatever the hell century it is.
Yeah.
Star Trek bro is going to come yell at me for not knowing the exact.
Here they come.
But there's a cat, and the cat's name is Grudge, and we get to see the cat occasionally because it's like cat proof of life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on the Next Generation, Data had a cat.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and he because it was part of his journey into trying to figure out what it was to be human.
Oh,
and I just remember, he's like holding the cat in one episode, and I have because I would watch it as a kid, and so I remember he's like down spot. Like, get down. No, not on the counter. And then there was another one where they're like, a watch pot never boils, and he's like, no, that brings me to that. And he's like, no, a pot always boils at and I have the 2 memories of him with the cat and watching a pot.
Like core memories.
Not the same episode or season, but
that's a great memory though. And so I'm a big fan of pets on spaceships. And,
yes. Anyway, so if you like pets on spaceships, read Hunt the Stars.
By Jesse Mahalik.
It has Star Wars energy, but with an animal on the ship, and Firefly energy. So
but less racist I was gonna say less racist Firefly energy. Yeah.
This is a very wildly diverse group of people on a spaceship so far. So that's and animal. Everybody's on this.
Yes, because as we know with Firefly, they somehow used Chinese words, but there were no Chinese people.
Yeah,
on the show.
That's the Joss thing, though. That's a whole other
Joss effect right there, friends.
Yes. What else?
Oh,
what else has been great?
What do we here's what are we looking forward to?
The next thing I read is here. I just got it. It's Eva Leigh's The Good Girl's Guide to Rapes, which arrived in my mail yesterday. And I'm like, I can't wait to read it. So
I love Eva Leigh.
Look at that too.
Oh, that's nice.
So pretty. So that's my next. And I'm very I'm really excited.
Yes. And if I love Eva Leigh's historicals, and I also love the historicals and sort of more. I think there might be some space adventures that she's written under the name Zoe Archer is her other pen name. Mm-hmm. So you could never go wrong picking up something by Eva Leigh / Zoe Archer because there's something for everyone, in there.
We could do a whole episode on Eva Leigh, the coolness of Eva Leigh.
Of Ziva. Sometimes I don't know if she lets me do it so much as I just do it to her, but I call her Ziva instead of Zoe and Eva. Right. No one else does it, okay? No one else gets to do that. That's my name.
Right. The second book in The Wicked Quills, which is Scoundrel Takes the Stage, is in my top 3 Desert Island. I'm taking that with me.
Oh,
I love that book with my whole heart. He's he's a Marquess. She's a lady playwright. So of course she's in the theater and everyone thinks she's, a whore. And they have this
how many men, do I ask how many men she's
I don't even remember. Now I'm going to reread it and find out. But it's all like, it's very backstage theater-y, which I love. And he's like one of the most chill royal dudes of all time. Like, I love them so much. So Scoundrel takes the stage.
Nice. Yeah. So I'm coming back to the present, I think, after my big historical binge and glom. My next books that I'm looking forward to, I probably should. I'm really looking forward to Mia Hopkins' Tanked coming out. It is the third much anticipated book in her East Side Brewery series.
Okay. Yay, brewery heroines.
Yes.
Yay.
Mia writes, this series is about formerly incarcerated brothers who are gang members who get out of jail and kind of have to like rebuild their lives, and they end up deciding to open a brewery, and they of course meet the loves of their lives and have lots of smoking hot sex.
Great.
So this is the third brother, who's the youngest. His name is Angel / Angel, and he's trying to find his way about the world, and there's an older woman.
Great.
All about like
yeah.
And so I think he's gonna have to wear her down, is my thought.
Okay.
Probably by taking her clothes off.
I mean, that's the fastest way we've learned, says the romance books. So.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
I'm also really looking forward to, I have this on my Kindle, and I just started it, Wished Out of Water by Holly Trent.
Me too, yes.
Mermaid.
That is our book club selection for this next month, which is
the good thing I'm reading it.
Yeah, it's the first book in this new series called Hooked, which I'm assuming is mermaids and sea creatures, which amazing. Yeah.
So the heroine is a mermaid, Black woman mermaid.
Yeah.
So I love that. And the hero, according to description, he's a dissolute prince of some kind. Like he's rich, but he's kind of a dirtbag. Like I think the description that Olivia Waite used and possibly the book is Florida dirtbag.
Okay.
So that's a very specific image, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Florida dirtbag. I actually met, this might be too personal for a podcast, video cast, whatever.
Please.
But I actually knew a classic Florida dirtbag back in New York City. And he was hot in that dirty way. Like you knew naughty things could happen.
Right.
Anyway, yeah.
I bet he has a story about a cute mermaid.
Maybe he does. So I'm really looking forward to Wish Out of Water. And the cover is gorgeous.
Oh my gosh. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be so we will have both read that by next month to rave about it.
Yes. You'll all get to hear about that in April. Or May.
April. This is
calendar math is not my strong suit.
Right. We are in March. Next month is April.
Okay. So that means we read the book club book at the end of March, and then we talk about it.
Yep.
Next month. Okay. I caught up. See?
Yep. You got it. Don't worry.
So Marissa, what's on your TBR?
Well, since I finished Hunt the Stars, I have Eclipse the Moon. And then I'm trying to think. I have a copy of Tahira in Bloom by Farah Heron. That's on my list, but I've been waiting so I can really enjoy it.
It feels like a spring book.
Yeah. I'm spring break.
Yeah.
And then I don't know.
That's all right. I put you on the spot.
Yeah. So many things, but definitely those two for sure. And then I have a bunch of other arcs that are just sitting. And I'm like,
exactly.
A Proposal They Can't Refuse by Natalie Kenya. It's a debut. And
okay.
Midwest.
Oh, nice. I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah. We got an arc and I'm waiting for everyone else to be done reading it. So
A Proposal They Can't Refuse. See, now I'm looking it up while we're running live because by Natalie. Oh yes. Okay. Now that you're saying it, of course. I know Natalie. Yes.
That's definitely.
Yes.
I have to wait.
I know. I keep getting.
I'm out of the store when the books come in, and then I'm like, okay.
Right.
You got to be the one to open the boxes.
I know, but they always come in the weekdays, and I'm not at the store on weekdays anymore.
Oh.
Yeah.
I have one more that I'm excited to read that I snapped. from the library the other day. I don't know if this is romance, but I think it's romance adjacent. Gear Breakers.
Okay.
By Zoe Hanamakuta.
Okay.
So I saw this floating around on Twitter. I'm pretty sure it was like YA Twitter that is romance adjacent. But this sounds like a female romance in battle times with mechs.
With mechs?
With mechs. Like they might pilot and drive giant mechs.
Oh, like Pacific Rim, you mean?
Yeah. Like there may be. So I snatched this from the library and I was like, I'm going to read this. And my kid was like, can I read that? We might all read this book in my house before next month. Nice. But that seemed incredibly cool to me. So like this is all I want is like a Rose Tico Star Wars spinoff series where she like fixes machines. So like,
Oh, yeah. You had me at lesbians and giant robots, honestly.
Right. Lesbians and robots. Like they're mechs.
Yeah.
They're gear breaker. Like great. I want all those things. So yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, this was very chaotic.
This was so chaotic. So those of you who hung in there with us being weird and talking over each other and the cameo by Remy, the dog.
Yay, Remy.
Hope you all enjoyed that. But thank you all for joining us this week. Assuming you liked this, we'll see you next month.
Yes, which is April.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes.